As Trump's administration comes into view, we're learning more about his technique of foreign policy. It's not like George H.W. Bush, which was to have a collegial relationship with every foreign leader and then get the boys together and figure out what we want to do. And it's not George W. Bush's technique, which was to hoist the flag, let out a cheer, and ask everybody to pile on and follow him. It's not Obama's technique, which is to hide under the desk until the crisis has passed so that nobody blames him. But it is a unique technique to Trump. It's essentially summarized in his book, Let's Make a Deal. He plays a long-term strategy of a head game against his adversary, in which his adversary has to think of 100 other things and gradually comes around to being willing to acquiesce to Trump's point of view. You can see that on display in his dealing with China. His goal, of course, is to change the trade relationship with China so they stop manipulating their currency and undercutting our products. Remember, China sells us about $60 billion a year, and we sell China about $500 billion a year, $400 billion. So the first thing he does is he calls the head of Pakistan. Then he meets with the head of Japan. Then he takes a phone call from the head of Taiwan. What do those countries have in common? They're the complete envelope that surrounds China. And basically Trump is sending a message, which is, I have a lot of places I can play where I can play off you. And it's kind of setting up an angular diplomacy that ultimately hems China in and forces it to make a deal with Trump. This kind of foreign policy move, which at first will appear misdirection to the diplomats because they're not used to playing that kind of game. They're not used to the wheeling and dealing of a New York real estate developer. But that's how Trump approaches it, and it's very good. You know, in the White House, whenever the president would be making foreign policy without following the script given to him by the National Security Council or by the State Department, it was as if the secretary leaned out of the Oval Office and said, "Watch out, he's loose. He's come loose. The president's loose." And the vision was he'd be running through the aisles, doing everything on his own without anyone controlling him and any of his usual handlers keeping him under wraps. Well, not so with Trump. He's always loose, but not a loose cannon, a methodical one who's gradually building the basis for what he wants to achieve. Thanks a lot for watching.